Saints of God, we thank you so much for coming again, being a part of what God has to say, being interested enough to hear what God has to say to his people. Today, we're going to ask the question, do you understand how to respond to the weight of your assignment? Good question. Do you know how to respond to the weight of your assignment? First, let's define weight. Weight has two definitions that we're going to deal with today. The first definition deals with value and worth. The more something weighs, like in terms of gemstones, in terms of gold bullion, the more it weighs, the more valuable it is. So we're going to look at weight in terms of worth and value. But weight also deals with something that has enough density and enough mass that it causes something to be unable to move if it's on top of it, or limit the movement or stop movement because of its heaviness. There are two things I want us to consider for this week. And the first thing is, I need for us to understand, number one, that every blessing God gives us carries weight in both contexts. It carries weight because of its value. Every blessing, every mandate, every responsibility God gives us, it carries the weight of value. It worth something. It puts us in a position where not only what we do is worth something, it makes us worth something. Glory be to my God. Our value and our worth is linked to how well we carry or handle the mandates that God gives us. They're valuable and they give us value. But then on the other hand, if we are weighted down with other things, we cannot carry what God has given us and carry what we have at the same time. It will cause the weight to be too heavy. We have to count up the cost when we accept mandates from God. God is not really concerned with our past life. He calls and he blesses us according to his mandate, according to what he sees that we can do, or where he wants to place us. He places his glory on us and it prospers in us because that's what he wants it to do. But if we're trying to carry the weight of his glory and then the weight of ourselves at the same time, it makes things too weighty. That's why a lot of times we find ourselves, we use the word burnout. And burnout is really a term that we use to describe being under certain weight. God never gives us anything that we can't carry. We've quoted it all our lives. He doesn't put more on us than we can bear. We say that. There's truth in that. But what makes it weighty many times are the things that we are already carrying. In the book of Hebrews, which is our scripture that we're going to focus on, chapter 12, we hear these words. Let us lay aside the weight and the sin that so easily beset us. It doesn't say lay aside all the weight, period. It's saying those weights that easily beset us. Those weights that become so heavy that we can't carry them. Those weights that become so heavy that we can't run and do what God says for us to do. That we're weighted down. We're weighted down by all of these things that we don't need to carry anymore. Jesus said, take my yoke on you. Learn of me. My yoke is easy. My burdens are light. In other words, God is asking an exchange with me. You take what I've got, and I'll take what you got. Sounds like a good deal to me. Because our weights We are weighted down with so many burdens, and we're carrying things from our past, and we're carrying things that we messed up now, and we don't seem to know how to get past it. And God is saying, give it to me. Take my weight on you. The things that God commands and demands for us to do, those things have value. We have that weight. But if we don't allow him to lighten our burdens, then we will find those things and we will accuse God of giving us things that weigh too much. You're right. He doesn't put more on us than we can bear. We're right. He doesn't require more of us than what we can carry. But ask yourself, how much of what I'm carrying is really God, and how much is it that I've just refused to release? You can't do the work of the Lord with your attitude. We can't do the work of the Lord with our mindset. We can't do the things that God has asked us to do carrying our own opinion. It will make it too heavy. The mantle that we carry, the responsibilities and the accountabilities that we carry. How much of that weight is truly God? If you weigh it out, what could you eliminate? It's a known fact. We are good for carrying things even if that's not good for us. We're just used to carrying it. We want to carry it because we're used to carrying it. But how much of that really is what God requires of us? God is too wise to keep putting more and more weight on us. He's not going to do that, even when we beg him to. Perhaps some of the things that we're waiting for God to do for us, he can't do it because we're carrying too much weight. And the blessings he's giving us, the responsibilities and the accountabilities may cause us to crush under the weight. He doesn't want that. He wants us to eliminate some things first. Ask yourself this week, as you're going through and you're feeling like, oh, God, I don't know what more I can take. God, I don't know if I can bear another thing. God, what I'm doing is costing me so much. Ask yourself later. Go to God and say, God, show me the weight that you placed on me and the weight I carry on myself that's mine. Show me how to eliminate my weight. Show me how to eliminate those things that I don't need to carry anymore. Show me how to eliminate the guilt of my past. That's a weight I don't need to carry anymore. Show me how to move on from the mistakes I've made. That's a weight I keep carrying. I don't need to carry that anymore. God, only you can show me how to eliminate these weights. I don't know how to eliminate them. And he wants to help you eliminate. That's why he said, lay it aside. Cast it on me. Carry my burdens and I'll carry yours. All we have to do is eliminate. Why keep carrying the weight of unforgiveness? Why keep carrying the weight of guilt? Why keep carrying the weight of past mistakes? And we're asking God to mix his blessings, to give us blessings on top of that? That's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. He will try to help us lighten those burdens, eliminate those weights before we can carry the weight. The weight of ministry. The weight of ministry can be heavy enough without us carrying those things with it that are not God. Think about it. Ask yourself this week, what can I eliminate? What am I willing to get rid of? God, what weight am I carrying that you will take and carry in my stead? God bless you, saints. I believe that when I see you next week, your burdens will be lighter if you take this word. See you next week.